This audio overview was generated using AI for educational purposes by Carey Family Dental and does not replace a consultation with your dentist. Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive into something that frankly sounds a bit like a construction project, but it actually happens right inside your mouth, the tooth-supported bridge.
Yeah, it really is a construction project. I mean, we're dealing with load-bearing structures, stress distribution materials, science. It's basically civil engineering on a micro scale.
Right, and looking at the research, a bridge is doing some serious heavy lifting. It's not just about filling a gap so you have a nice smile.
No, not.
So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how this restoration actually works, why it matters for your function, and the trade-offs involved.
Yeah,
Because there is a very real cost to this.
there is. And to start with the concept, it's deceptively simple. A tooth-supported bridge replaces a missing tooth by using the natural neighboring teeth for support.
But mechanically, you can't just hover a fake tooth in that empty space, right?
Right, you need anchors. In the dental world, we call these abutments. To make the neighboring teeth work as anchors, they actually have to be shaped to fit crown.
Which brings us to the biological tax. That's the term that just kept coming to mind while reading the sources.
It's an accurate term.
To build the bridge, you have to pay a tax on the healthy teeth next door by essentially shaving away enamel.
That is the reality, yeah. You're prepping healthy tissue to create space for the hardware. Once those teeth are shaped, a digital scan or an impression is taken to act as a blueprint. Then the replacement teeth, the pontics, are fused to those crowns.
And this is a permanent installation. It's cemented on, so it's not something you pop out at night like a denture.
No, once it's in, it is a fixed part of your anatomy.
Let's look at the materials because the notes mention a conflict between durability and aesthetics. We've got ceramics, metals, and hybrids.
You usually see three categories. Tooth-colored ceramic, which looks the most natural. Metal alloys, usually gold, which are incredibly strong but obviously look like metal. And then the hybrid, which is ceramic fused to a metal foundation.
And the survival data here is really interesting. It looks like the hybrid is the durability winner.
It is. If we look at the source data for survival rates, after 5 years, ceramic fused to metal sits at approximately 94%. Ceramic-only bridges are slightly lower, around 88%.
So you sacrifice a little bit of structural integrity to get that perfect translucent look of pure ceramic.
Exactly.
So why take on the biological tax and the structural risks? Aside from not looking like a hockey player, what are the functional wins?
Stability is the big one. When you lose a tooth, the remaining teeth tend to drift and tilt into that empty space, which ruins your bite. A bridge locks everything in place. It also restores your ability to chew properly and speak clearly.
Okay, but we have to look at the darker side of the data too. We mentioned shaping the teeth, and that's not without consequence.
No, it's a trauma to the tooth. Even with the best technique, shaping a tooth can irritate the nerve. The data indicates that in about 6% of cases, sometimes higher, that crown tooth might eventually need a root canal.
So you're fixing the gap, but you're creating a potential vulnerability to the foundation.
Yes.
And then there's the hygiene trap.
That is the #1 maintenance challenge. Because the bridge is fused together, you can't floss down between the teeth. There is no between.
It's just a solid block.
Exactly. Food gets trapped under the pontic. If you aren't using threaders or specialized brushes to clean underneath it daily, you risk decay or gum disease on those supporting pillars.
There was one other risk that stood out to me, and that's the aging mismatch. Because porcelain doesn't change color right.
That's a huge point people forget. Your natural teeth yellow with age, or maybe you bleach them white. The bridge stays the exact color it was on the day it was cemented. 10 years later, it might not match the rest of your smile.
So it's definitely not a set it and forget it situation. Now, the main alternative mentioned in the source material is the implant.
Implants are often the preferred alternative because they don't touch the neighboring teeth. No biological tax on the neighbors. Or you have removable partial dentures. Or you simply leave the space empty.
And just deal with the shifting teeth.
Correct.
So synthesizing all this a bridge is a highly functional solution, but it's a commitment to a serious hygiene routine to protect the investment.
It requires vigilance to keep those anchors healthy.
Here is a final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
We often think of our mouth as a solid foundation, but it's actually a dynamic, changing environment. Bones shrink, gums recede, teeth wear down. A bridge is a static, rigid structure. The real challenge is maintaining stability when the biology around it is constantly aging and changing. Something for you to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.